The underlying theme which I wanted to bring about is that it's great to never be in your comfort zone and keep adding value to yourself. And this came about when I was in business school, where I remember a professor told us one day, they never run behind money, just add value to yourself and success and money will meekly follow. Good evening, everyone. I think the main reason I'm here today is because I've completed 25 years in Blue Star. And that's my set today. Thank you, Vatsal and his team, for inviting me here. And before I begin, how many of you all have completed 25 years in one organization and you're not a promoter of the company? Sam, you're not eligible for that. I'm guessing nobody? So one person here? Okay, super. So I think whenever I've completed 25 years in Blue Star, and I'm sure there are thoughts going through your mind. And those thoughts could be that maybe I couldn't manage a job somewhere else. Or maybe I'm too lazy to find another job. Or maybe I'm really averse to taking risks. Maybe I'm always, I enjoy being in my comfort zone. And so on and so forth. And my story is simple. Blue Star was my first wife, is my first wife. I married her. I did not have a one-night stand. I did not have a live-in relationship. And we never parted ways so far. So that's as simple as that. And that's something that Vatsal and me, team wanted me to cover. That's what keeps me going in one organization for 25 years. And honestly, contrary to what you might think, I always believe that a rolling stone gathers no moss. It's something that we learned. Maybe not monetarily, but from a perspective of gratification, from a perspective of happiness, from a perspective of a purpose, like the previous speaker mentioned. I think Anupam was in Unilever for 17 years, so I beat you to that. I'm 25 years in Blue Star now. And it just helps you there from that perspective. But the trick here is that in Blue Star, I have never been in my comfort zone. So it's something that I have always tried to move out of my comfort zone. And I've handled various stints here. So I think there's many things that I've done, right from medical equipment sales, to corporate communications, to advertising, to product management, to e-commerce, to modern trade, sales, and things like that. But the underlying theme which I wanted to bring about is that it's great to never be in your comfort zone and keep adding value to yourself. And this came about when I was in business school, where I remember a professor told us one day, they never run behind money, just add value to yourself and success and money will meekly follow. And that's what I continue to do. And what happens is that in a large organization, when you work with an organization, you are able to get exposure to various functions. You're able to obviously prove yourself to the organization very quickly. You're able to build bonds within. You're able to get loyalty from that company, and therefore they encourage you to take more and more exposures to more and more functions, which sometimes you can't really land up doing in other organizations. And that's what I back myself up on. And I see a lot of youngsters today taking decisions. They're very restless, they're very impatient, they want to move on. The problem is that they compare themselves with their peers on the money they earn. But what about the value they've added to themselves? And that's what my first mantra has been, which is just add value to yourselves and success follows. And of course, the stalwarts are here, so I guess my speech is not for the right TG. You're obviously very elite forum, but if there were youngsters around, I would believe that adding value rather than money is going forward in life. The other thing that I also notice amongst youngsters is that they take decisions again basis compensation. They get into getting into smaller brands. Of course, not really. I'm not really comparing startups, but there are a lot of people who take decisions basis the monetary reason. And what typically happens, I always believe it's better to be the tail of a lion than the head of a cat. It's a little controversial because people could learn a lot from being the head of a cat, but unless you're a tail of the lion, you can't aspire to get to the head of a lion, unless the cat becomes a lion someday. But I always believe that, especially with a youngsters should look at growing to the top of the ladder going forward. And the next theme that I have is passion, which is being, I think was just talked about very adequately today. And being passionate about everything that you do is very critical for going forward and for keeping it for keeping yourself going. That's what I was told, that how can you keep yourself going in one organization for 25 years? And there would be many jobs that I took up which perhaps I was not happy with initially. All right, I didn't enjoy doing it. But if you see the bigger lens, you see the purpose, that okay, you're able to generate passion out of it. You are able to do a good job of it, however small or big it may be, because I don't believe a job is big or small. No, you might argue that some jobs are not worthy of credentials. I don't think so. Any job, however small or big, is a job. And if you put passion into it, if you put whatever you have into it, you will obviously succeed there. And once you succeed, you get an opportunity. You get a chance to actually do more and more things. So that's the next point that I had, which is about what I have done in my career of 25 years. I'm only one of the two people here in this elite forum. And the last thing, which I believe, so I'm going to take much less time than the 9 minutes, so to save up on the others. But the last thing that I believe is very critical for success in your career is happiness. And we have to be in pursuit of happiness. And the problem is that we keep comparing ourselves to the others. And I'm not sure why, because we're not in a rat race here. We're not NEET exam or a JEE score where we have a ranking and we have to compete there. Everybody can build their own individuality. Everybody can make their own mark. And as long as we are able to set standards for ourselves, what happens, like I was mentioning earlier, when you work in multiple organizations, every time you're in this urge to prove yourself, every time you want to prove yourself, every organization that you go, because obviously they don't know you. In my case, I already proved myself in my initial years. So all I had to do was actually then try to prove myself, which is set standards for myself, try raising the bar every time. And that's when happiness does come in. Because then you're not actually doing it for others, you're doing it for yourself. You're trying to prove a point to yourself because the others don't matter anymore. You're trying to raise your bar. And I often find a lot of youngsters spending a lot of time on social media, and at the end of it, it's very depressing because you see people, enjoying their lives, people are happy, people doing this, people doing that. And that's where the trick of happiness is, which is how do you control your mind's a fool. You have to control your mind in order to ensure that these external stimuli don't have any impact. So that becomes important, controlling your mind. Such that, say you've gone through social media, you've seen many people happy, but hello, you're not here competing with anybody else. You're competing with yourself. And if you believe that you've done a good job, if you believe you've set high standards for yourself, that's when happiness will come in. And once happiness comes in, so will success, because very clearly it's a direct linear equation. Most people who do a great job are the ones who are the most happiest doing that. That's my small set for today. I always believe that set high standards for yourself. Aim to reach for the stars, and enjoy every moment that this wonderful life has to offer with happiness and gratitude. Yeah, so thank you very much for your time.